Hello everyone, today I'm going to be teaching you the basics and getting started creating After Effects scripts and extendscript. So this will be just a series and we'll be creating scripts along the way, and within those tutorials we'll be learning different techniques and things like that. There are a few prerequisites you might want to consider. 1. Learn JavaScript or have a basic understanding of programming languages. 2. Consult the After Effects CS6 or higher scripting guide, which has all the coding information you need to know in it, and as well as this great UI, script UI PDF that will help you create great UIs. There are some other guides out there which will help, but those are the two main ones. But again, you don't really have to know JavaScript entirely. I didn't know any JavaScript, I just had some programming knowledge beforehand, and I learned as I went. I challenged myself every project I created. I'd say, okay, I want to make this. What steps do I need to take to create this? And you learn along the way, and it's a great way to learn really well. So today we're going to be creating this little script, and it's called Add Title and Cut. This script allows you to add a title and cut your video. Very simple, but this is the beginning tutorial. So all we have to do is just do what it says. So you can put in the title of the video, test video, length of the title, do 20 seconds, and we can set 2 points where it will cut. And in fact, I'm going to choose 2 points that correspond. So 20 seconds because that's where the title ends, and we'll do like 40 seconds. When we click start, it does exactly that for us. It creates a title, and it splits the video in 2 different areas. Although obviously there's a lot missing, like bugs that could come up if you don't put in a number, things like that. It's the basics, and we'll be doing bugs and stuff in another tutorial. So let's go ahead and get started. This is what it looks like in extendscript. It's pretty much less than 50 lines of code, and it does a fair amount of things. And don't be intimidated by this. We're going to take it step by step and learn how to do this. So we'll create a new JavaScript file, and we're just going to jump right into the coding. So the first thing we're going to do is we need to set up a few variables that denote certain places within the After Effects composition. If you open the scripting guide, there's actually a very handy figure that shows how everything in After Effects is organized, the hierarchy, and it starts off at application and it gets broken down to more and more things. And we're going to kind of use that as a guide if you know how to use it. So we're going to go ahead and create a variable, and we're going to call it main comp for main composition. And what is our main composition in terms of extendscript in After Effects? Well, it's the app or application, the project, and in this case we're going to put active item, which means whatever item you've clicked on, whatever comp you've clicked on. So before we run the script, we will have to click on a composition. We're also going to do main layer. We're going to create something called main layer because we're assuming this composition has one layer. So that is going to reference to the main comp and the index layer, first layer. Okay, and this sounds a little crazy, but we're going to make the UI right off the bat. So to make a UI, we need to create a variable. We'll just call it the main window, and we're going to create a new window, and we put in 3 different values here. Again, if I'm going fast, just bear with me. You'll learn. Just practice yourself and you'll do fine. So we're going to set the type of window to a palette. It's the type I almost always use, so far have always used. And then we're going to add a title. We'll call this add title and cut because that's what it's going to do. We don't really have a fancy program name. And the last input requires position data, but since we don't want to, we'll just put in undefined. So within window, you have groups, and groups are basically holders of elements such as text, drop downs, checks, things like that. So we're going to create a group. We'll just call it group 1. And it's going to be inside of the main window. And then we're going to add it. And the type is a group. There's group and panel. I'll go over panel maybe. And the sizes are undefined, so it will just automatically scale. And then a name for it. We'll just call it group 1. So I'm going to go ahead and do something down here. Main window dot show. This will make it appear. So if we were to run the script, we'll just save it as tutorial example. If we run the script, we just have this little window here. So we need to start adding some elements within it, but we already have a UI, which is great. Okay, so let's create some elements within the group window. I'm going to go ahead and add some static text. So inside of the group 1, we're going to add static text, undefined. And what is the text going to say? Well, we're just going to have a description of what the script does. So this script allows you to add a title and cut your video. Now if we run the script, what happens? We have that. So the undefined, instead of putting in actual positions and such, allows the script just to automatically scale and whatnot, which is usually what I'd recommend doing, unless you're doing some crazy stuff. Okay, so we have that. Let's just keep going. So we'll make a variable. We need to make that entry, the edit text thing for what the title is going to be. So we'll make a title name, and we'll add that to the group 1. And in this case, it's going to be edit text because it's an edit text box, an editable text box if you want. And the text is going to be set to default. We'll do the title of video. And then we're going to do the same thing below for the duration or the length of the title. So we'll do title duration equals same thing basically. We'll add it to group 1. It's an edit text. Values are undefined. And we'll do duration of title. Okay, let's take a look. So as you can see, it's not below this text here. It's just going in a straight line left to right. So a way to fix this is to change the orientation of our group. Currently it's set to default as a row, so it's all in a row. So let's set it to column. So if we go back to our group 1, you can type in group1.orientation, and then we have to set it to a string, and instead of row, we want column. And now it's below it. It's going top to bottom now. Alright, so we have 2 more inputs to put in. It's going to be the same process as these other 2. And so these are basically the 2 cut points. It's going to be based off of time. So I'll just call them cut 1 and cut 2. So again, we're adding to group 1. It's going to be an edit text. And we'll do cut point 1. And same thing for this one. Okay, so let's take a quick look. Now we have these. So we can go in here, type stuff, but we don't have any buttons to actually execute code really. So let's go ahead and create buttons. And because they're kind of completely separate elements, or we want them to be, we're going to put them in a new group. And also because if we create a new group, we can set them to horizontal or row instead of column. So that way they are properly formatted how we want. So we'll make a group 2. Main window, sorry. Add another group. In fact, I'll change this one to panel just to show you what panels look like. They're basically groups with, we'll call this buttons because it's going to actually display this if it's a panel. So to add a button, we can just create a start. Well, actually, let's change group to .orientation to row, and then we'll create a var start button. This will be our start button. Amazing how that works. And we'll say group to .add, and the text is simply button. It's undefined, and we'll call it start. And then we'll also have a cancel button. And we'll call it cancel. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got. As you can see, we have our UI all set up. We just have to add the functionality within it. So we're arguably more than halfway there. So we have these buttons, and this is what the panel looks like. It just creates a box around it, which is really nice sometimes if you're doing any kind of separation or formatting, but I'm going to change this back to group. So the next step is to create functions or on-click events that will allow the buttons to interact and execute code. So firstly, how we do that is using the on-click function. So I'm going to set up the cancel button first because it's the easiest. So we're just going to refer to the cancel button. And on click, or when you click it, it's going to do basically a temporary function. And simply the opposite of main window show, we want it to close. So main window dot close. So now if we run it, click cancel, it closes. Simple. Now we got to do the meet. And this is for the start button. So when we click start button, do this kind of fake function, and I'm actually going to refer to another function instead. So firstly, I'm going to do this thing called an undo group. This is basically what allows you to Control Z and undo the whole script if you need to. So to do this, just type in app.begin undo group, and then you can name the undo group. We'll just call it tutorial swag. No, I'll get hate for that. Just tutorial. And then down here, I'm going to create a new function, and I'm honestly just going to call it do things because the function is going to do things. So once you click the start button, let's execute the function do things. So now we just have to create the function of do things, and we'll be good. One side note, I'm going to actually center the main window because, I mean, it depends on how big your computer is, but it's important to center sometimes. So the function to do things, there's a few things we need to set up first. Let's go ahead and take a look at our script really fast. So we have these inputs, right? If we input things into here, they're going to become strings, and strings are not able to efficiently do math and adjustments like that. So we actually need to set up some values first. We need to grab these values and convert them to numbers, especially the cut points and the duration. As for the title, we don't need that, but we need to convert these three into usable numbers. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab the duration of the composition. Why? Because once we are cutting the video, we need an out point for the last layer, which hopefully will make sense later. So there's a thing called duration that just grabs the time and duration of our main comp, which is literally the first line of code we typed. So now to convert those strings into usable numbers, we're just going to call them things like title seconds, so it's easy to remember. There's a function called parseInt. Just type that in, And then we type in the thing we want to parse. In this case, it's going to be title duration. But if we do title duration, it's literally referring to the edit text box itself. We need to refer to the text that is inputted, so we just grab text. And it'll be the same for the other one. Cut 1 seconds. And again, we're going to grab the text. And same with cut 2. Now these are values that we can actually use and manipulate. So let's go ahead and create our text, or the title. So let's call it title text. And the way we do this is we grab a comp, we refer to the layers, and we add text. And inside of this add text function, we basically put what we want the string to be. In this case, title name.text, because we have this input up here, title name, and we don't have to convert it because it's already string. And then, because this text will become the whole duration of the comp, as we will see, I'm just gonna grab these. The text will become the whole duration of the comp. And because of that, sorry, it's not working yet. Because of that, what we want to do is set the out point to the seconds they put for the title length. So we'll go title text.outPoint, or the point it stops. That's going to be equal to title seconds. All right. And then we need to duplicate the footage and then set those in and out points. That's the way you split in scripting. At least that's the way I know how to split. You duplicate the layers and then you set the in and out points accordingly to where you want them to split. So the middle layer, the first time we duplicate, is going to be the main layer, which we set earlier, and duplicate function. Top layer is going to be equal to the middle layer duplicated. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's check our code. I think good to test it really fast. Just put in the same inputs as last time. It's not running. One of the rather annoying things about JavaScript, as I just find out and I'm about to explain, are that debugging and finding why your script isn't working is very difficult sometimes. Literally, the only reason our script didn't work is because we had layer instead of layers. That makes a big difference. So now we can run it, and we'll set these up and click start. Now we have it doing things. So now we have these three clips, and we want to cut them appropriately. In terms of debugging, if you don't know why something's working, set up alert messages. For example, if we think we're not getting to this function, we can alert a message here in do things function, and learn to spell. And then once you don't make it to a certain alert, you can narrow down the area within the alerts where the code isn't working, and you can try and solve it and look for errors. So now let's go ahead and use these cut 1 and cut 2 seconds and comp duration to figure out, or to actually split these layers essentially. So we're going to grab the main layer first, the first layer we had, and set the out point to cut 1 seconds. Simple as that. And then we move on to the middle layer. We need to set its in point and its out point. For its in point, we're going to do cut 1 seconds because that's the first cut point. And for its out layer, we do cut 2 seconds. And then finally, we need to do the top layer. It's in point and its out point. So for the in point, we're going to do cut 2 seconds. And for its out point, we're going to use the comp duration because that's the end of the comp. And finally, to finish all this up, we're going to close the window because we want to see the result. We don't want to have to keep looking at the script. And then we're going to finish that undo group. So we're going to type app.end undo group tutorial. And now our script should be all ready. So let's go ahead and give it a run. So we're going to take the title of the video. Scripting is awesome. Duration of title, 12 seconds. 12 seconds. 50 seconds. Start. And boom. We have created our first script. Because scripting is awesome. And it cuts them, and boom. Just like that, you've created your very first script. If you have any requests for more subjects of this matter, put them in the comments. Or if you have any questions or comments or consternations, just send them my way. And yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you next time.